Hey, how's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to some more Arsenal transfer news, transfer updates, opinions, discussions, all about Arsenal, all that good stuff. Today, basically, we have some transfers, but more importantly, Premier League fixtures came out. Arsenal's Premier League schedule came down for next season. It's quite an interesting one, to say the least. It will be very interesting to see how this develops. We're gonna take a look at that. We're gonna take a look at some transfers, some shocking news in a way, if you ask me. So, without further ado, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell if you enjoy the content, and let's get into it. And we're kicking things off with Premier League fixtures for Arsenal specifically. Arsenal's Premier League schedule came out, and I must say, it's pretty well balanced, if you ask me. In August, we have to play Wolves, Villa, and Brighton. Should be 3 wins, although against Villa, based on last season, it will be a very interesting how that shapes up. In September, we have Spurs away. That will be a rough one. Manchester City away and Leicester at home, which means basically out of first 6 games, minimum what we need is 16 points. We need to win every single game. Man City could be an iffy one. But again, I don't want to see Arsenal sit back and park the bus against Man City like before. I want to see us going for it. I'm sick of tired just parking the bus at times against Man City and just hoping for a lucky goal, a lucky counter, a lucky deflection and all that stuff. So it will be very interesting to see. Mind you, but at that time when we have between Spurs and Manchester City game, Champions League starts. Obviously, this season's a different format, different groups and everything. Arsenal have 8 extra games, 8 different opponents, so you cannot prepare for anyone 2 times. So definitely, that game depends who we play between Tottenham and City. Because if that game is at home, I have no problem. If that game is away, I have lots of problems. Because imagine, you go to Spurs. Okay, it's not that far, let's be real. But you go to Spurs, you come back. Then you have to fly, let's just say, to Spain to play Atletico Madrid, for example. Then you have to fly back. You fly back. In few days, you have to fly to go to Manchester, basically, to play City. It's not a great sign, obviously. And especially with the fact that we are so quiet in the transfer market at the moment. Our squad depth is shambolic and laughable. I'm not too excited about that. I'm not gonna lie. But this is a good start. In October, we play Southampton, Bournemouth, and Liverpool at home. So basically, in the first 3 months, we play 3 of the big 6 teams instantly. So we have only 2 left. We play 2 away games, 1 home game. In November, we have Newcastle, Chelsea, Nottingham Forest, and West Ham away. And this will be a tough running, I'm not gonna lie. We have Liverpool at home, Newcastle away, Chelsea away. Those 3 games will be very interesting to see how they shape up. And it will be very interesting to see how this develops, because Arsenal cannot allow to have what happened last season. Basically go 1-7 what they did in December. They cannot afford to do that, because as we all know, Man City are a machine and they can win pretty much every single game, more or less, if they want to. So it is what it is. Moving on to December, Boxing Day and all that stuff. United at home, Fulham away, Everton at home, Crystal Palace away, Ipswich at home, Brentford away. Pretty chill, I'm not gonna lie. We have 6 games. But there's also cups and everything, so it will be very interesting to see how far we go in the cups. Because so far, Mikel Arteta has treated cups like a side dish, a broccoli on your steak dish, which nobody wants. So it will be very interesting. He tries to avoid it like plague. I don't know why, but it is what it is. I guess he's allergic to trophies, but hey ho, here we are. In January, window opens. Hey, already another transfer window opens. Then we play Brighton away, Spurs at home, Villa at home, Wolves away. That is a very interesting January for me personally, because Brighton away, yes, we have beat them there, but you never know what kind of Brighton turns up under the new St. Pauli manager. You don't know how they're gonna look. Spurs at home should be a win. Let's be real, it's Spurs, they're shit, so it is what it is. Villa at home is one of the biggest iffy ones you can ever imagine, because last season Villa just done us over like we're, like, I don't know, like an omelet. We got put on the pan, got scrambled, and then just thrown out. Nobody wanted to taste us. They without salt, without pepper, nothing. We were just tasteless. They just did, and we are done. Anyways, Wolves away is a very interesting one. Again, it will be interesting to see what Wolves sign, who they lose. So that is also February. Again, Manchester City at home, Leicester away, West Ham at home. And that game against City could be a very interesting one, because At that time, you probably, at that time around, ends Champions League group stages. I think in January it ends. Near mid-January, something like that, early January, May. It's because you have to play 8 games, 2 extra games compared to 6 which you had before. Again, overpopulating. I just don't get, by the way, how they can overpopulate the more games. Because you have Euros now. Players get 2 weeks off. Good job. Amazing. Pre-season, go. Then you have season, you have FA Cup, FA Cup, yeah, Carabao Cup. Then you have Champions League. You play all those games. You have extra 2 games. By the way, the Champions League doesn't end that quick as usually. And then instantly you have a window. And in meantime, in the midst of all this happening, again, you have international games, international breaks for stupid friendlies. I assume there will be World Cup qualifiers and stuff like that. It is all over the place, I'm not gonna lie. They really should tone down a bit the games because, yeah, it's looking rough. But again, back to February, it will be very interesting to see how this goes for Arsenal. Last season, it was great. The second part of the season, we just balled it in December when we went 1-7. And maybe against Villa you could say that as well. But mostly it was in December when we went 1-7. It will be very interesting how we play against City at home. How we look, do we have any injuries? That's the biggest if in all of this. Move to March, we have Nottingham Forest away. Manchester United away, which will be a tough one, and Chelsea at home. Very interesting. Last season we just destroyed Chelsea like no tomorrow. It will be very interesting what's going to happen next season. And the end of the season is pretty chill. Fulham at home, Everton away. Could be a banana peel, but let's see, because we last season as well, lucky goal, not lucky, but skillful finish by Trossard to win it somehow 1-0. Brentford at home, Ipswich away, Crystal Palace at home, should be winnable. Bournemouth at home, Liverpool away, and Newcastle at home. Newcastle at home, we can do the job. We have done it and we most likely will do it, I hope so at least. Liverpool away could be very interesting because we don't do that well at Anfield, I'm not gonna lie. We need to start getting some wins at Anfield as well. And of course, last game of the season is Southampton away, which would be very interesting if the last game of the season comes down to that and we win and something happens to Man City and we win at Southampton. That's kind of meh, but it is what it is. It would be a win of winning the league, I mean, in that instance. But for me personally, the schedule is perfect because it's not a big cluster of massive games at any point. It's pretty much scattered out mostly in bunches because if you look at it, you have Spurs, City, early stages, then you have Liverpool, Newcastle, Chelsea a bit later on. Then again, there's a small break. Obviously, United is one game, but it is. Then you have a small break, you have Spurs, Villa. Then again, small break, you have City. Well, one game, but Champions League and all that stuff. Then you have another small few weeks, United, Chelsea. And then obviously, end of the season is pretty chill, besides Liverpool, Newcastle, again in a bunch. So basically, we have double whammies pretty much everywhere, maybe a triple whammy at some point. But this schedule I'm very happy with. We start at home, we finish away, which is not great. I would like to finish at home, but it is what it is. But overall, it's a very, very scared schedule, which I really like. If we get the right signings in, which at the moment looks like it's never going to happen, I'm not going to lie, it is what it is, but Edu is like just chilling and doing nothing, it feels like. It will be very interesting to see what happens, because we have to get the proper signings in and proper players out. We need to increase the quality and we need to increase the depth of the team. So that will be the key in this whole situation, because you have to play 2 more games, again, in Champions League. So that will be extra stress and extra fatigue and extra stamina and extra everything you will be needed. If Arteta decides to take FA Cup, Carabao Cup seriously, again, extra games which will need extra quality and extra subs. Or the Premier League could actually maybe remove the cap for players available to kind of register for the game and maybe remove the FFP or something like that and let teams spend. Yes, it would give unfair advantages for certain teams, but I guess the rules are necessary to somehow keep things in check. Let's be real, because you cannot fault, let's just say, Bournemouth that they don't have, let's just say, Qatari billionaire owners. You cannot fault them for that. Let's be real. But yeah, for me, schedule is pretty nice, pretty chill. It will be very interesting to see once we start playing how Champions League affects us and cups. Let me know down in comments what you think about the Premier League fixtures and schedule for Arsenal. Now we can move on to signings. Players linked and signings and departures and all that stuff. Basically, what happened today, Arsenal offered third choice keeper Karl Hein a new contract. The Estonian is set to put the pen to the paper to finalize the deal and for the deals to be sorted. Basically, He has been on loan a few times. He hasn't done much at Arsenal's main squad, let's be real. Ramsdale was here, Raya was here, Emi Martinez, Leno, Runnerson even played in front of him, so it is what it is. For me though, we let Okonkwo go for free. That is one of my biggest issues personally, because if we could have free signed him, loan him out again and then sell him, I wouldn't be against that, because you could get a good chunk of money for him, because he had amazing season for... Oh boy. Rapid Vienna, Sturm Graz, one of those teams. I think Rapid Vienna. Or Sturm Graz. One of those two. I think Sturm Graz. I think that he won the cup and got 10 clean sheets in 16 games and all that stuff. He went to Wrexham this season on loan. He did amazingly there as well. Helped them to get promoted. I haven't followed Wrexham and Okonkwo at all. But last time I checked, it was about 2 weeks ago. They were kind of deliberating whether to sign him full-time or not. It will be very interesting to see. As soon as Arsenal announced they're letting him go, there were already reports that Wrexham are kind of exploring that option to sign him full-time. And obviously fans love him. I was reading that Wrexham fans will love him a lot. So it will be very interesting to see where he lands. But Karl Hein as a third choice keeper will be very interesting, because let's be real, if we go into the season with Karl Hein as our second keeper, we're instantly screwed. Because last season, we got no injuries pretty much whatsoever. Partey got injured, Simba got injured, that's it. Yes, there Martinelli, Knox there, Tomiyasu there, but we didn't get injured any of our main guys, and we still finished second, just few points behind City. Now imagine we don't sign a backup goalkeeper, because I haven't seen Link since Bilov when season ended 2 weeks ago, well 3 weeks ago even, right? And we go with Karl Hein as our second keeper in the, well, we had Lunin kind of link, but it is what it is. I don't think it's gonna happen, personally at least. I wouldn't see it, especially after that Ukraine game, no chance. But imagine now, Karl Hein is our second keeper. Raya somehow gets injured. Knock on wood, by the way. We don't wish injuries to our own players, and he has to go in goal. I just say against Liverpool or Manchester City. Why not? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine us coming out in a winning situation from that? No chance whatsoever. I'm not gonna lie. As questionable Raya is at times, we have to back him because he's our main goalkeeper. Go sign a free goalkeeper. Navas is free. De Gea is still free, if I'm not mistaken. Neuer might be available on free as well, something like that. They're quite good second backup goalkeepers. Just go and sign one. Even for free agency, just go and sign one. I don't want to go into the season with Karl Hein as our second keeper. No chance in hell. Obviously, yesterday we talked about the fact that numerous reports were coming out that Arsenal will go for Victor Osimhen. Arsenal will put in a bid in the next few days from yesterday, so basically today, tomorrow, by the way, I would say just by the end of the week, because knowing how this works, the few days can be 3 to like infinity, basically how they are reporting it and how many loopholes they leave and how many catchphrases they use to kind of make the article in a way that they can kind of fall back on it and say, if it doesn't happen, well, it was just a rumor, as I mentioned, or it was just an interest, as I said before. It was nothing concrete and everything, so it is what it is. But according to reports today, Arsenal have been linked obviously with Victor Osimhen, but the biggest thing is Arsenal make decision as transfer priority change made after 55.6 million blow. Obviously, Arsenal tried to sign Benjamin Šeško, didn't happen, he stayed at Leipzig, and Arsenal after that instantly were linked with Osimhen quite heavily. Now, the thing is, today, quite a bit of reports coming out that Arsenal are not going after him. I'm just gonna try and find this out now. Here it is. Arsenal will not make a rash decision in transfer market following the renewal of Benjamin Šeško's contract. Football.London understands. The Gunners saw one of the targets they saw as a potential striker candidate sign a new deal last week, and since have faced questions about where their crosshairs may turn next in the market. And reported just under 2 weeks ago, despite the noise surrounding the Slovenian forward, that center midfielder was indeed the priority of signing. Yes, at the same time, while we were trying to sign Benjamin Šeško, there were also reports coming out that our main focus wasn't a number 9, but it was the midfield, which obviously is. We should sign 2 midfielders this window, especially if Partey leaves. Especially number 6, I would take 2 number 6s that one of them can play as Nate. I would do it like that, but I'm not Mikel Arteta, so I don't know who will he sign. But since then, Arsenal have been linked with number of center forwards, including Napoli striker Victor Osimhen. However, Football.London Understands a move for the Nigerian is unlikely at this stage and have not heard anything to support claims of an imminent offer being made. Basically, we talked yesterday that there might be Arsenal could will be or could be submitting a bid in the next few days around 80 million euros, like 73 million pounds, something like that, because his release clauses are 103 million, and Arsenal are not valuing that high. They will not pay, and Napoli will have to reassess, value pros and cons, and all that stuff. Today, according to Football.London, especially Tom Canton in this instance, he hasn't heard anything. He kind of is on top of these things many times, I'm not gonna lie, from what I have followed him, from what I've seen from him. So I kind of tend to believe him in this instance, that Arsenal actually might skip on this, because more reports also came out today, is also from Athletic, that Arsenal are focused on signing a new central midfielder after missing out on Benjamin Šeško. So it's not just Tom Canton from Football.London, who actually has a pretty decent podcast every morning at 8 a.m. UK time about Arsenal transfers and all that stuff. So yeah, it's not a new thing. We heard that when we were linked with Šeško, that Arsenal might be focusing on midfielder as well, and we heard up instantly after he denied us he re-signed with Leipzig that Arsenal could be focusing on a midfielder. Now, after missing out, according to Athletic as well, which could be kind of decent and credible stuff, that Arsenal are focusing on a midfielder. Now, yesterday we talked about Arsenal kind of maybe signing, maybe being rumored to be linked with Liverpool and Juventus flop Arthur Melo. Now, if that happens, I'm becoming a Yeovil Town fan, by the way. Straight up saying this now. I just don't want to see that whatsoever. But obviously, Arsenal over time have been linked with multiple midfielders. There was Zubimendi, there was Douglas Luiz, obviously, but Douglas Luiz is moving to Juventus. The deal is nearly done, from what I understand, from legit 9-10 reports I read. If you kind of put them all together, kind of get some overall picture how it's going. It looks like it might be done very soon. Onana, Everton 150 to 60 million, and I'm not sure Arsenal are looking at the moment to pay that much for him. For 30, yes, they would take him. For 50, 60, I personally wouldn't even do that. So that will be very interesting how this midfielder department develops, who we will sign, because let's be real, Fofana is available for 20 to 25 million from Monaco. Why we haven't still signed him up is I have no idea, because Galatasaray are interested in him, Besiktas and some other teams. And there are other midfielders we have been linked with, but nothing has come up as of yet. So it will be very interesting to see how Arsenal actually shifts their transfer policies, because at the moment it's all a guessing game. Because from what we understand, there actually was a concrete interest in Benjamin Šeško. We didn't get him, and now again nobody knows what is going on, because before Šeško everyone was speculating links and everything, and during Šeško time main focus was on Benjamin Šeško, and there were some maybe some signs that Arsenal might sign a striker, another one, or a midfielder or a defender and all that stuff. And now that Šeško has said he's staying at Leipzig, again nobody knows what's going on, because most of the rumors that were kind of died down once we were actually properly linked with Šeško are slowly resurfacing once again. So that just shows how Arteta has done his transfer business recently, how he wants to do it in silence, and until nothing is concrete, he won't actually let anything slip out of Arsenal. As he has made an Arsenal a fortress, not just for games and everything, but actually for transfer news as well. So it will be very interesting to see how this midfielder stuff basically develops. Now some other news we can quickly run over. Everton have agreed their first summer signing exit of Arsenal Aston Villa target likelier than ever. Basically, Everton have agreed a deal for Aston Villa midfielder Tim Irogbunam. And that is very interesting because he plays a number 6 role. He's very young, he hasn't got much play time for Aston Villa obviously and everything. Now that Aston Villa are losing 2 of their midfielders technically, they might be looking at Onana. So that will be very interesting how this develops, because Arsenal are kinda linked but not per se. They're not the big fans as it was said about a few days ago, so it will be very interesting to see how this develops. But he didn't have the best of auditions yesterday, as it says here. Belgium lost to Slovakia 1-0, and Amadou Onana looked lost at times. He can run, but his passing was mediocre, his first touch was mediocre, so it will be very interesting how this develops, because in Premier League you don't get much time on the ball, and he actually might get cleared real hard if he takes too long on the ball. And here's another one. Newcastle ready to bid 21 million for Champions League winner, but face competition from Arsenal. Now, I don't know about the competition from Arsenal in per se, because Arsenal were linked with Lunin. It has kind of slowed down a bit now. At least the loudness of the rumors that were posted online. Let's just get that out of the way. But yeah, it looks like Newcastle are in looks for a new goalkeeper. They want to sign a goalkeeper because Dubravka and Pope and cutting it. Pope is also getting older, and they're looking in terms of Lunin. Lunin again for Ukraine against Romania also didn't have the greatest of games. One of goals he definitely should have saved. Obviously, defense didn't help him too much, but overall he had a decent game. For Real Madrid, he carried them while Courtois was injured to Champions League final, to La Liga title and everything. So definitely a decent goalkeeper. So it just depends whether he's gonna want to move to Newcastle. All about that, because again, he's been linked. Arsenal is in the title, personally, in my subjective opinion, just to draw more clicks. Because I don't genuinely see a proper interest from Arsenal in Andre Lunin whatsoever. Because Lunin moving to Newcastle, I can see concrete chance of him being a number one. Coming to Arsenal, there's no chance in hell he's going to be number one. So that is one of the biggest things that will be very interesting to see as it develops. Anyhow, those are transfer rumors from me for you today. My thoughts on fixtures and my thoughts on the players we have been linked with and how overall situation on transfer market for Arsenal is going. Let me know down in comments below, how do you feel about it? Do you expect Arsenal to sign anyone before the end of June? Because Arsenal actually said they want to sign someone before Euros. Šeško fell through, so not happening. And then they said Arsenal want to get in a player before June ends. So do you think we will sign someone? Because at the moment we are 12 days away from June ending and we don't have any concrete interest in anyone apart, arguably, you could argue Osimhen, arguably. Besides that, we have nothing, of course. As I said, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell, let me know down your thoughts on overall everything Arsenal transfer policy at the moment in the comments down below. I can't even speak, I'm sorry about that. Take care, stay safe, enjoy the games today. Turkey versus Georgia is about to kick off, and of course in the evening, Portugal versus Czech Republic. Peace.